Breaking today, Meghan Markle is turning her back on her solemn vow to Omid Scobie never to re-enter Britain. She will be back next month with Archie, Lili and Prince Harry in what is an audacious and sick bid to reverse Megxit. I think this is a disgusting decision, which appears to have been signed off by King Charles III.
Reports are surfacing that the UK Parliament has effectively given its backing to King Charles's decision to block Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from making any kind of formal return to the United Kingdom in a royal capacity. The palace is reportedly descending into what insiders describe as controlled chaos because of the sheer audacity of the Sussexes' potential return. Let's look at the political dimension of this, because it is something people are not talking about nearly enough. The United Kingdom operates under constitutional monarchy, which means the sovereign acts on the advice of elected ministers. While Parliament doesn't typically meddle in the internal affairs of the royal family, it has extraordinary power when it comes to public funding, security, and the legal status of working royals. Behind closed doors, senior members of Parliament have quietly endorsed the King's position. This isn't just palace gossip, this is institutional alignment. For years, there has been a quiet but persistent concern that Harry and Meghan might attempt to engineer a return, not because they want to serve the crown, but because the alternatives have dried up. The concern in Whitehall is that a Sussex return would not be a return to service, but a return to extraction, a return to monetizing proximity to the crown and using royal access as content. Parliament has essentially said they will not facilitate that. They will not allocate security resources for it. They support the King's decision to keep the gates locked. If you want to understand why this return was even being floated, you have to follow the money. Multiple credible reports over the past several months have painted a picture of the Sussex finances that is, to put it diplomatically, precarious. The days of $100 million Netflix deals and $18 million Spotify contracts are over. Those deals were predicated on one thing: proximity to the royal family and the novelty of two rogue royals dishing dirt. But here is the problem with selling secrets. Eventually, you run out of them. Spare was a bestseller, but it was also a one-shot weapon. Harry fired every round in the chamber, and now the chamber is empty. The audience has moved on, the commissioning editors have moved on, and the cold, unsentimental accountants have most definitely moved on. This leaves them in a position that is genuinely desperate. The Montecito mansion carries enormous overhead. The security costs are astronomical. The lifestyle they have built is not cheap to maintain. This brings us to the most revealing aspect of this entire saga. If the financial situation is truly as dire as suggested, then Meghan Markle has arrived at a cold, strategic, deeply cynical calculation that sucking up to King Charles is their only remaining hope. The monarchy she publicly savaged and accused of racism is now her last viable meal ticket. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of it is enough to make anyone's head spin. This isn't new behavior, it's a pattern. Before Harry, there was the first marriage to Trevor Engelson. He supported her during the lean years, and when the career started to pick up, he reportedly received his belongings back in boxes. Then came the royal family. They gave her a platform, and she used that platform to try to burn the family down. Now, with the ashes still smoldering, she wants to come back and warm herself by the fire. This is not the behavior of someone seeking reconciliation. It is the behavior of a grifter who uses people and institutions until they are no longer useful, returning only when the alternatives have been exhausted. There is another dimension to this that is particularly troubling, and it involves the children. Archie and Lilibet have been kept almost entirely out of public view, with the parents citing a non-negotiable need for privacy. And yet, reports suggest that a potential UK return could involve the children being shown publicly. After years of using their privacy as a shield and a weapon, are the Sussexes now preparing to deploy their own children as part of a public relations strategy to soften their image? If that isn't monetizing your children's faces, it's hard to know what is. The privacy was never a principle, it was a tactic. The children were kept hidden to preserve their commercial value for a moment exactly like this. While this chaos unfolds, Prince William's position is critically important. William, by every account, has absolutely no interest in meeting with them. Can you blame him? His brother wrote a book describing their physical altercations. His brother's wife went on global television to make insinuations about Catherine. William is not just hurt, he is done. As the future king, his position carries more long-term weight than anyone else's. If William refuses to engage, there is no path back. He has watched his brother sell family secrets for profit while Catherine underwent cancer treatment. He has drawn a line that will likely never be uncrossed. The British public has also reached its verdict. Poll after poll shows that Harry and Meghan are consistently among the least popular public figures in the country. The public has watched a privileged couple in a 16-bathroom mansion lecture them about compassion and social justice. They have watched the grifting and the manipulation, and they have reached their limit. Nobody
So here's the headline. It dropped on news.com.au just as it was widely known that Catherine and William were going to be attending Royal Ascot today. So do not tell me that is a convenience. That is a coincidence, people. That was absolutely an announcement designed to take the attention away. And it was very much clearly briefed by Montecito. Headline: Prince Harry, Meghan and their 2 kids to return to the UK in a matter of
He wants these 2 back. The victim narrative has expired. Inside the palace, the response is a mixture of exasperation and steel. They are tired of the drama and the manufactured news cycles. They have learned that every olive branch offered to the Sussexes is weaponized. So the palace has adopted a new strategy, a polite, immovable wall. With Parliament's backing, that wall has just gotten considerably higher. This is not cruelty, it is accountability. Meghan Markle has always been the driving force here. Harry appears as a man under influence, separated from his country and identity. Meghan, however, is strategic. The pivot back toward Charles is not a change of heart. It is a change of strategy because the American market is closing. It is cynicism dressed as reconciliation. Everyone can see it, the palace, Parliament and the public. If Parliament's backing of the King's position holds, the Sussexes are facing a future without royal access or funding. They are facing a future where they must generate income on their own merits, and the marketplace has already spoken. The value isn't there. What remains is a couple with an expensive lifestyle and a rapidly diminishing ability to fund it. The royal family is not perfect, but imperfection does not justify exploitation. Family tensions do not give you the right to monetize your relative's pain on a global stage. Harry and Meghan were given extraordinary privilege, and they converted it into grievance content. Now the content is running out, the door is closed, and for the sake of the monarchy and the public, it should stay closed. It's no secret that the money has dried up. When they first landed in California, they were the hottest ticket in town. Netflix was throwing 9-figure sums at them. Spotify was desperate for their voice. They were the darlings of the woke elite, but then the content actually came out. We got a whiny 6-part documentary that was essentially a high-budget home movie about how hard it is to be a multimillionaire. We got a podcast that was so vapid it resulted in a top Spotify executive calling them fucking grifters on the way out the door. And then we got Spare, a book that didn't just burn bridges, it nuked them from orbit. Now that the Sussex brand is toxic in Hollywood, Meghan has reportedly had a sudden, convenient realization. She has realized that the very institution she spent 4 years trashing is actually her only hope for survival. This sudden urge to suck up to King Charles isn't about family healing. It isn't about Archie and Lili knowing their grandfather. It is a desperate, transparent attempt to reattach the royal leech to the host. Meghan knows that the American public is bored of them. She knows the victim narrative has a shelf life and has expired somewhere between the Oprah interview and the South Park parody. If they are truly broke, as multiple insiders suggest, then crawling back to the king is the only way to maintain the private jets and the designer wardrobes. But there is a massive, ironclad obstacle in their way: Prince William. While Charles may still harbor the complicated, pained love of a father, William has the cold, clear eyes of a future king. He has watched these 2 vile grifters attack his wife, Catherine, while she was at her most vulnerable. He has watched them leak private family moments to Gayle King and Omid Scobie. He has watched them treat the monarchy, his life's work and his children's future, like a reality show script. William's refusal to meet with them is the strongest signal we have that the game is over. He knows that letting them back in, even an inch, is like letting a virus back into a recovering body. He is the enforcer, the one who understands that you cannot negotiate with people who view loyalty as a commodity to be traded for a streaming deal. The most disturbing part of this entire reconciliation plot is the rumor that they are planning to use their children as human shields. For years, they preached about the sanctity of their children's privacy. They sued photographers, they blurred faces, they kept Archie and Lili hidden away as if they were state secrets. But now that the Sussex brand needs a transfusion of royal stardust, suddenly there's talk of bringing the children to the UK. Suddenly, we hear whispers that they might finally show their faces to the public. Let's call this exactly what it is: the monetization of their children. If they bring those kids to London and parade them in front of the cameras after years of demanding privacy, they are essentially selling their children's images to buy back the public's interest. It is a cynical, psycho-calculated move by a woman who understands that the public has a soft spot for royal children. She wants to use those kids to soften the public's heart and force the king's hand. It's a move born of desperation and a complete lack of moral compass. They aren't parents bringing children to see a grandfather. They are producers casting the final scene of a failing show. The irony of this entire situation is almost too much to bear. Meghan Markle spent years trying to convince the world that the royal family was a gilded cage, a racist, oppressive firm that she had to escape for her own sanity. She told us she was suicidal because of the British press and the coldness of the palace.
And the timing of this announcement today is particularly disgusting, given that this was meant to be Prince William and Catherine's moment at Royal Ascot. And let's think for 1 minute about what is going through the head of the future King and Queen of England, who are absolutely determined to keep their troublemaking relatives in exile for the rest of their lives because they know deep down in their souls that
If that were true, if it were really that toxic, why on earth would she be fighting so hard to get back in? Why would she be desperate to have her children associated with such a dangerous institution? The answer is simple. It was all a lie. It was a narrative designed to garner sympathy while she tried to build a rival court of Montecito. Now that the rival court has gone bankrupt, she wants her old room back in the gilded cage. Nobody in the UK wants them back. The British public has a very long memory and a very low tolerance for hypocrisy. They remember the spectacle wedding that the taxpayer funded. They remember the demands for private security while they were living in a mansion in a different country. They remember the way they treated the late Queen in her final years, causing her immense stress and heartbreak while she was mourning Prince Philip. The idea that these two could just fly back in, take up residence in a taxpayer-funded cottage, and start serving the public again is an insult to every hard-working Briton who has spent the last 4 years watching them spit on the flag. The palace is currently a battlefield of strategy. On one side, you have the peace weavers, who worry about the optics of a fractured family. On the other, you have the realists who know that the Sussexes are a security risk, not a physical one, but an informational one. Anything said in their presence will be in the next Netflix pitch within 48 hours. The King's decision to block their return, now reportedly sanctioned by Parliament, is a necessary act of self-preservation for the monarchy. It is a recognition that you cannot have half in, half out. You are either a servant of the crown or a celebrity in California. You cannot be both, and you certainly cannot use the crown to fund your celebrity lifestyle. Meghan's desperation is palpable. You can see it in the curated paparazzi walks in parking lots. You can see it in the launch of brand after brand that never seems to actually sell anything. She needs the royal association because, without it, she is just another actress whose best work is behind her. She needs the title, the crest, and the proximity to the throne to convince investors that she is still relevant. But the world has waked up to the grift. We have seen the psycho tendencies of a woman who isolates her husband from everyone he has ever known, and then plays the victim when his family pushes back. The UK Parliament's involvement here is the final nail in the coffin. It removes the decision from the realm of family drama and places it in the realm of national interest. By approving the King's decision to block their return, the government is saying that the Sussexes are a threat to the stability of the institution. They are a distraction the country does not need. With a King and a Princess of Wales both facing health battles, the last thing the United Kingdom needs is a narcissistic circus arriving on a private jet to demand apologies and photo ops. If they are truly broke, as the rumours suggest, then the reality must be terrifying for them. The mortgage on that Montecito estate is massive. The security detail costs millions. The legal fees from their endless, losing battles with the press are piling up. They are in a financial death spiral, and the only parachute is the one they set on fire years ago. Meghan may think she can suck up to Charles and manipulate her way back into the fold, but she has underestimated one thing: the collective resolve of a family and a nation that has simply had enough. Prince William is the hero of this piece. He is the one standing on the ramparts, refusing to let the Trojan horse through the gates. He knows that his brother is lost to the influence of a woman who views people as stepping stones. He knows that any reconciliation would be a sham, a PR stunt orchestrated by Montecito to boost their falling ratings. By refusing to even sit in the same room as them, William is protecting his father, his wife, and the future of the British throne. He is saying no more. No more lies, no more leaks, no more grifting. After everything they have said, after the damage they have done to the UK's reputation on the world stage, they think they can just come back because their business ventures failed. It is the height of entitlement. It is the behavior of two people who truly believe the rules don't apply to them. But the rules do apply. The public's affection is not a tap you can turn on and off. Once it's gone, and once it's been replaced by a deep-seated feeling of betrayal, it's gone for good. The Sussexes are currently in a prison of their own making. They chose freedom, but they found out that freedom is very expensive when you don't have a talent to sell. They chose privacy, but they found out that nobody pays you to be private. Now they are trying to crawl back to the very place they compared to a prison. It would be a comedy if it weren't so vile. The monetization of their kids' faces, the sucking up to a king they insulted, the desperate attempts to bypass William, it all points to a pair of grifters who have reached the end of their rope. Let's be honest about the timing here. Why now? Why is Meghan Markle suddenly making overtures toward a father-in-law she previously painted as the head of a cold, indifferent, and institutionally biased family? The answer is as simple as it is pathetic. They are broke. The global empire of compassion has turned out to be a house of cards. When they left the UK, they walked away with the arrogance of people who thought their names alone were worth billions. They thought they were the product. They failed to realize that the only reason anyone cared about them was the very institution they were so eager to destroy. Now that the Spotify deal has been unceremoniously dumped, and Netflix is reportedly looking for any excuse to move on from their mediocre content, the panic has set in. Meghan has realized that sucking up to King Charles is no longer a choice, it's a survival strategy. It is the only hope they have of maintaining a lifestyle they clearly cannot afford on their own merits. But this isn't a family reunion, it's a hostile takeover attempt by two people who have run out of options. The psycho energy required to publicly humiliate a family for 4 years and then expect a taxpayer-funded security detail and a grace and favor cottage is truly off the charts. But there is a protector at the gate, and his name is William. If there is one thing that brings a sense of justice to this entire sordid affair, it is the reported resolve of the Prince of Wales. William isn't just a brother who's been hurt. He is a future king who has seen his family's legacy put at risk for the sake of a reality show. He has watched his wife, Catherine, be targeted by the Sussexes' online squad while she dealt with her own health battles. The idea that William would ever sit down for a summit or a meeting with these two grifters is laughable. He knows that every word spoken to Harry is a word that will be sold to the highest bidder. William is the wall that Meghan cannot climb, and that must be driving her absolutely mad. Perhaps the most sickening part of this new strategy is the shift in how they are using their children. For years, Archie and Lili were the most private children in the world. We were told that showing their faces was a security risk, an invasion of their human rights, and a trauma the parents couldn't bear. But now that the Sussex brand is flatlining, we are hearing reports that they are ready to bring the children to the UK. There is talk of monetizing their faces for a new wave of PR. It is the ultimate cynical move. They are prepared to parade those children in front of the very British public they called racist and hateful just to get a photo op with the king. It's a transparent attempt to use the kids as emotional blackmail. The British public, however, isn't falling for it. There is a deep, visceral anger in the UK toward these two. People haven't forgotten the way they treated the late Queen Elizabeth in her final months. They haven't forgotten the Megxit drama that overshadowed Prince Philip's final days. Nobody wants these two vile grifters back on British soil. They aren't seen as returning family members. They are seen as opportunists who tried to build a rival court in California and failed. The sentiment across the country is clear. You made your bed in Montecito, now you can go broke in it. Inside the palace, the atmosphere is reportedly one of descending chaos, but not for the reasons Meghan might hope. The chaos stems from the sheer logistical nightmare of keeping them away. How do you handle a prince who is so under the thumb of his wife that he's willing to sue his own father's government? How do you manage a woman who views every interaction as a content opportunity? Parliament's decision to back the king provides a legal and political shield. It takes the pressure off the family and makes it a matter of state. It says that the British people will not be forced to subsidize the lifestyle of two people who have spent their free time attacking the nation's values. Meghan's realization that she needs the royal family is the ultimate admission of failure. She thought she could be the next Oprah, the next Michelle Obama, a global powerhouse of lifestyle and politics. Instead, she's become a cautionary tale. Her American Riviera Orchard brand launch was a disaster, a series of overpriced jam jars that no one asked for. Her podcast was a vanity project that fell flat. She has realized that without the HOH and the proximity to the throne, she's just another influencer in a crowded market. The desperation to be associated with the royal family again is an admission that Meghan Markle on her own is not a brand, it's a punchline. Let's talk about the psychological toll this must be taking on Harry. He has been stripped of his military titles, his patronages, and now, effectively, his homeland. He has been led down a path of self-destruction by a woman who convinced him that his family was his enemy. Now, he's watching that same woman try to crawl back to that enemy because the checks have stopped clearing. If he had any self-respect left, he would be horrified. But he seems to be a passenger in his own life, a man who has traded his heritage for a brand that is currently being liquidated. The decision by Parliament to block their return is also a matter of national security and dignity. You cannot have people who are essentially royals for hire representing the UK. You cannot have someone who discusses their drug use and family secrets in a memoir performing official duties on behalf of the Crown. It would make a mockery of the institution. The King's decision to draw a hard line is the strongest he has looked in years. It shows that while he is a father, he is a sovereign first. He knows that the survival of the monarchy depends on its integrity, and that integrity is incompatible with the Sussexes' circus. William's refusal to meet them is the final piece of the puzzle. He is protecting the future. He knows that if they are allowed back in, even as private citizens, the leaks will start again. The she said, he said drama will dominate the headlines, taking attention away from the real work of the royal family. William has seen the damage they've done, and he is
News.com.au can exclusively reveal that the entire family is planning to make the trip from Montecito, California, in line with the Duke of Sussex's 1 year to go Invictus events in Birmingham in mid-July. It does not appear there are plans for the family to relocate to the UK permanently, wait for it, at this stage. At this stage. They're seriously trying to dismantle Megxit. They've got another thing coming. Here is the source quote.
Determined to ensure it never happens again. He is the guardian of the institution, and his stance is a reflection of the will of the people. No meetings, no apologies, and no way back. The idea that Meghan would show her kids' faces now is a slap in the face to everyone who defended her right to privacy in the early days. It proves that the privacy was always a commodity, something to be traded when the price was right. If they are truly completely broke, then those children are the only assets they have left in the eyes of the media. It's a tragic situation for the kids, but it's a situation created entirely by their parents' greed and arrogance. Parading them in the UK now would be a desperate act of a woman who has run out of tricks. They thought they could hold the monarchy hostage forever with their truth, but they forgot one thing: the monarchy doesn't belong to the king, it belongs to the people. And the people, through their representatives, have spoken. They are done. Let's look at the why behind this sudden, desperate urge to return. The narrative being spun by the Montecito camp is one of reconciliation and healing. But if we look at the balance sheets, a much more cynical picture emerges. The rumours are rampant that the Sussexes are, to put it bluntly, completely broke. The massive deals that were supposed to fund their billionaire lifestyle are drying up. Spotify dropped them with a public insult that will follow them for the rest of their lives. Netflix is reportedly pivoting away from their personal stories because, frankly, the world is bored. When the money stops flowing, the psycho tactics begin. Meghan has clearly realised that sucking up to King Charles is their only hope for a financial bailout. It is a breathtaking display of hypocrisy. How do you spend 4 years calling an institution racist, oppressive, and archaic, only to turn around and beg for your old job back the moment your American business ventures fail? It's not about service, it's about the brand. Without the royal prefix, they are just 2 more influencers in a sea of celebrities, trying to sell jam and lifestyle tips to a public that has moved on. The realization that they need the king more than the king needs them must be a bitter pill for Meghan to swallow. But she is nothing if not a strategist, and she knows that a royal association is the only thing that gives them any value in the eyes of Hollywood. However, she hasn't accounted for the William factor. Prince William is the future of the monarchy, and he has a memory like an elephant. He watched his brother humiliate their father, attack their stepmother, and insult his wife Catherine on a global stage. William's reported refusal to even meet with the couple is the most significant barrier they face. He knows that these 2 vile grifters don't want a family dinner, they want a photo op. They want a conversation they can leak to the press or save for a second volume of a memoir. William is standing firm, acting as the guardian of the throne, ensuring that the Sussex virus doesn't reinfect the institution he has spent his life protecting. The most disturbing part of this entire re-entry plan is the reported shift in their stance on their children. For years, Harry and Meghan have been the self-appointed champions of Archie and Lilibet's privacy. They fought legal battles and issued stern statements to keep their children out of the public eye. But now that the brand is in the gutter, the strategy has changed. There are whispers that they are now willing to show their kids' faces, to bring them to the UK for high-profile public appearances. If they are truly planning on monetizing their children's faces to save their own failing reputations, it marks a new low in a saga that was already in the trenches. Using children as PR props is the ultimate sign of a desperate, broken brand. Nobody in the UK wants them back. The British public has watched this drama play out with a mixture of amusement and genuine anger. They remember the way the late Queen was treated in her final days. They remember the spare revelations that felt like a betrayal of every family value. The idea that Harry and Meghan can just swan back in, take up residence in a palace, and enjoy taxpayer-funded security while the rest of the country deals with a cost-of-living crisis is an insult. Parliament's decision to back the king is a reflection of this national mood. It is the government saying, "We hear you." They are not coming back on our watch. Palace chaos being reported isn't about fear, it's about the finality of the situation. The king, while a father, is also the sovereign. He has a duty to protect the institution. By aligning with Parliament, he has created a legal and political wall that even Meghan's most manipulative PR tactics cannot scale. The Sussexes are effectively being told that they are private citizens now, and private citizens do not get royal perks, royal protection, or royal platforms. They wanted their freedom, and they've got it, along with all the bills and the lack of relevance that comes with it. Meghan's behaviour throughout this has been described by critics as increasingly erratic. The parking lot paparazzi walks, the strange brand launches that laid nowhere, the constant leaking of friends telling the media how happy they are, it all points to someone who has lost control of the narrative. She thought she could outmaneuver the British establishment. She thought she could be the queen of people's hearts from a mansion in California, but she underestimated the resilience of the monarchy and the skepticism of the public. Now she is left trying to claw back into a family she spent years trying to destroy. It is a spectacular failure of judgment. And what about Harry? The man who was once the most popular royal is now a shadow of his former self. He has been stripped of his military associations, his home, and his dignity. He is a man caught between a wife who demands a certain lifestyle and a family that has finally shut the door. If he thinks a return to the UK will solve his problems, he is delusional. He would be returning to a country that views him with pity at best and contempt at worst. He wouldn't be returning to a hero, welcome. He would be returning to a life of being a non-working royal in a country that has no use for him. The UK Parliament's decision is the final nail in the coffin. Removes the decision from the emotional realm of family and places it in the cold, hard reality of national policy. You cannot have grifters representing the nation. You cannot have people who sell secrets for silver representing the crown. The monarchy is built on the concept of duty and we, not grievance and me. Harry and Meghan have proven time and again that they do not understand the first thing about service. Their only service is to their own egos and their own bank accounts. The British monarchy is moving on. It is focusing on the King, the Prince and Princess of Wales and the future. The Sussexes have become a footnote, a cautionary tale about what happens when you trade duty for celebrity. Meghan's hope that sucking up to Charles will save them is a fantasy. The King may love his son, but he loves the crown more. And with William and Parliament standing behind him, he has the strength to say the one word that the Sussexes never thought they would hear from the palace. No, but why the sudden panic in the Sussex camp? Why are we seeing these desperate leaks about a potential return to the UK? The answer is as simple as a bank statement. The money is gone. The massive deals with streaming giants, which were signed in the heat of the post-Megxit hype, are expiring or being cancelled. The public is suffering from Sussex fatigue, and the commercial world has realised that once you've told your secrets, you have nothing left to sell. If the reports are true and they are genuinely broke, then Meghan's sudden revelation that she needs to reconcile with King Charles is nothing more than a strategic pivot. It's not about love, it's about a paycheck. Meghan Markle has spent the last 4 years painting herself as a victim of a cruel and racist institution. She told Oprah she was silenced. She told Netflix she was hunted. But now that the American dream is turning into a financial nightmare, she's realized that sucking up to the king is her only hope for survival. The sheer, naked opportunism is enough to make anyone's skin crawl. You cannot spend years trying to burn the house down and then expect the people inside to let you back in when it starts raining. The psycho narrative of the victim-turned-conqueror has failed, and now she is playing the only card she has left, the prodigal daughter-in-law. Standing in her way is the one man who truly knows her game, Prince William. While Charles is a father who struggles with the heartbreak of a lost son, William is a future king who sees a threat to the stability of the throne. William is reportedly refusing to even entertain the idea of a meeting. He knows that these two vile grifters don't want to apologize, they want to survive. He understands that every conversation with Harry is a liability, a potential chapter in a future book or a leaked tip to a friendly journalist. William is the iron wall that protects Catherine and the children from the toxic drama of Montecito, and his refusal to engage is the most powerful signal that the Sussexes are truly alone. The most cynical part of this entire return plot is the rumored plan to finally monetize their children's faces. For years, they used Archie and Lilibet as a shield, claiming that privacy was their only priority. They lectured the press and sued anyone who dared to look in their direction. But now that the brand needs a reboot, suddenly there is talk of bringing the children to the UK for a royal introduction. If they are truly planning to use their children as PR tools to soften the public's heart and force the king's hand, it is the ultimate act of desperation. It proves that their children are not individuals to be protected, but assets to be deployed when the Sussex stock price starts to drop. The British public has absolutely no appetite for this sequel. The people of the UK have watched Harry and Meghan mock their traditions, insult their heritage, and treat the monarchy like a stepping stone to global fame. There is a deep-seated feeling of betrayal that no amount of PR sucking up can fix. Nobody wants these two back. They are seen as grifters who tried to start a rival firm and failed miserably. The idea that they could return to represent a country they have done nothing but criticize is an insult to every citizen. Parliament's backing of the king is a reflection of this national disgust. It is the democratic will of the people saying, "Stay in California." Inside the palace, the chaos is the sound of a system resetting. The Sussex problem has been a shadow over the first year of Charles's reign, and he has finally decided to cast it off. By aligning with Parliament, he has removed the personal emotion from the decision. It is no longer about a father and a son. It is about the crown and a pair of private citizens who have proven themselves to be untrustworthy. The king knows that the monarchy cannot survive as a half-in, half-out celebrity show. You are either a servant of the people, or you are a
These two are trying to ruin the British royal family. So, King Charles, what are you doing? British government, what are you doing? And while I completely agree that it was disgusting the way that Meghan and Harry were using their children as some type of blackmail tool, I have long provided the blueprint as to how they could arrive privately with no extra security to take the grandchildren to see Charles at Balmoral.
brand in Montecito. You cannot be both. Meghan's desperation is showing in every move she makes. The constant rebrandings, the strange lifestyle websites that never quite launch, the anonymous sources telling everyone how happy and busy she is, it's the behavior of someone who knows the end is near. She thought she could out-glamour the royal family. She thought she could be the global queen of social justice. But she found out that without the weight of the British monarchy behind her, she's just another celebrity in a town full of them. The realization that she needs the royal family more than they will ever need her must be a devastating blow to her ego. And then there is Harry, a man who was once the heartbeat of the royal family, now reduced to a supporting character in his own life. He has lost his titles, his home, and the respect of his countrymen. He has traded a life of service and duty for a life of grievance and content creation. If he thinks a return to the UK will fix his broken life, he is mistaken. He would be returning to a family that no longer trusts him and a public that no longer likes him. He has become the ultimate spare, not to the throne, but to his wife's ambitions. Parliament's involvement here is the final, undeniable closing of the door. It makes the king's decision permanent and political. It means that even if Charles wanted to let them back in, the government would stand in the way. It is a safeguard for the nation. It ensures that the dignity of the UK is not sold off in a Netflix deal. The grifters have been identified, labelled, and excluded. The psycho tactics of gaslighting a nation into believing they were the villains while Meghan was the saint have utterly failed. The King and the Prince of Wales are focused on the work that matters. They are focusing on a modern, slimmed-down monarchy that serves the people rather than its own ego. The Sussexes have become a cautionary tale. A reminder of what happens when you put self-interest above service. Their attempt to crawl back because they are completely broke is the final pathetic act of a failing show. The monetization of their children, the sucking up to a king they mocked, and the desperate attempts to bypass William, it all points to a pair of people who have run out of road. The UK is closed to them. The family is closed to them. The grift is over. Let them stay in their 16-bathroom mansion and contemplate the fact that they had everything and threw it away for a dream that turned into a nightmare. The palace is currently described as being in a state of controlled chaos, but make no mistake, this is the chaos of a long overdue house cleaning. The news that the British government has formally aligned with the king signifies a massive shift. This moves the Sussex problem out of the family drama category and into the national liability category. By approving this blockade, Parliament has effectively declared that Harry and Meghan are a risk to the constitutional stability of the United Kingdom. The locks have been changed, the security protocols have been rewritten, and the half-in, half-out dream has officially become a nightmare of all out and stay out. But let's look at the why behind this sudden, frantic pivot toward London. Why is Meghan Markle, a woman who spent years describing the monarchy as a soul-crushing firm, suddenly so eager to get back into its good graces? The answer is as old as time: the money has run out. The Sussex brand has proven to be a commercial black hole. Spotify executives famously called them grifters on the way out the door, and Netflix is reportedly eyeing the exit. When you sell out your family and your heritage for a quick payday, you eventually run out of inventory. If the rumors are true and they are completely broke, then Meghan's sudden reconciliation plan is nothing more than a strategic play for a royal bailout. It is a masterpiece of psychological manipulation. How can someone publicly accuse their in-laws of the most heinous institutional biases on global television, only to turn around and try to suck up to the king the moment the Hollywood checks stop clearing? It is a psycho level of entitlement to think you can nuke a bridge and then expect a private jet to pick you up on the other side. Meghan has realized that without the royal connection, she's just another celebrity in a crowded Californian market where she's increasingly unwelcome. She needs the crown to validate her existence, but the crown has finally realized it doesn't need her at all. Standing at the gates is the one man who will never forget and never forgive, Prince William. While King Charles may feel the natural pull of a father's heart, William feels the weight of the future king's responsibility. He has watched his brother reveal private family arguments and his wife's personal struggles in a desperate bid for spare royalties. William's reported refusal to meet with them is the ultimate safeguard. He knows that every olive branch from Montecito is actually a Trojan horse designed to gather more content for the next documentary. William is the firewall protecting the monarchy from further contamination. And his stance is a direct reflection of a public that has simply had enough of the Sussex circus. The most repulsive aspect of this planned return is the rumor that they are ready to monetize their children's faces. For years, they used Archie and Lili as pawns in a privacy war, lecturing the world on the trauma of the spotlight. But now that the brand is flatlining and the bank accounts are dwindling, the children are reportedly being prepared for their debut. If they are truly planning to parade those kids in front of the UK cameras to win back public sympathy and soften the king's heart, it is a new low. It proves that the privacy was never about the children's welfare. It was about controlling the market value of their images until the parents were desperate enough to cash in. The British public has reached a point of total exhaustion. This isn't just a lack of interest, it is an active, visceral rejection. The people of the UK remember the spectacle wedding, the demands for taxpayer-funded security, and the constant lectures on universal service from a couple who did nothing but serve themselves. Nobody wants these two vile grifters back. The sentiment in the pubs, the offices, and the streets is unanimous. The Sussexes made their choice to abandon the UK, and the UK has made the choice to move on without them. Parliament's backing of the king isn't just a political move, it's a democratic one. It's the will of the people being enforced at the highest level. Inside the palace, the chaos is the sound of the final curtain falling. The king, in his first few years of reign, has had to endure the constant distraction of his younger son's public tantrums. By aligning with Parliament, Charles has taken the personal sting out of the rejection. He is no longer just a mean father. He is a sovereign upholding the dignity of the state. The message is clear. The monarchy is a sacred trust, not a safety net for failed influencers. You cannot treat the crown as a side hustle. You are either dedicated to the service of the nation, or you are a private citizen in California. You cannot be both, and the king has finally called their bluff. Meghan's desperation is palpable in every leaked story and every parking lot photo op. The American Riviera Orchard launch was a joke, overpriced jam in a world that wanted substance. She thought she could out-monarchy the monarchy, but she found out that history cannot be bought or faked. Her attempt to re-establish a connection with Charles is the ultimate admission of failure. She has realized that she isn't the star of the show. She was just a guest who overstayed her welcome and stole the silverware on the way out. Now she wants back in, but the audience has already left the building. And what of Harry? The man who traded his uniform, his family, and his country for a truth that nobody wanted to hear. He is a man without a country, and increasingly, a man without a purpose. He has become a secondary character in a drama scripted by a woman who views people as stepping stones. If he thinks a return to London will restore his dignity, he is mistaken. He would be returning to a family that views him with suspicion and a public that views him with contempt. He has traded his birthright for a mess of pottage, and now even the pottage has gone cold. Parliament's involvement is the final seal on the tomb of Megxit. It removes any hope of a royal light arrangement. It ensures that no taxpayer money will ever again be used to fund the lifestyle of people who have done nothing but insult the taxpayers. It is a moment of national self-respect. We are saying that our institutions are not for sale, and our family values are not for rent. The grifters have been identified, the psycho tactics have been mapped out, and the defence has been solidified. The King, the Prince of Wales, and the British Parliament are standing together in a way we haven't seen in decades. As the palace reorganisation continues, the focus remains on duty. The King and Queen, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and the working royals are showing what true service looks like: quiet, dignified, and consistent. They aren't looking for headlines, they are looking to serve. This stands in stark contrast to the noisy, ego-driven world of the Sussexes. The chaos will pass, and what will be left is a stronger, more focused monarchy that has successfully shed its most toxic members. Harry and Meghan are no longer the story, they are the footnote. The Megxit era is over, and the era of the Great Lockout has begun. The gates of the United Kingdom have been barred, and for Harry and Meghan, the cost of their betrayal has finally come due. Let's be blunt about the why behind their sudden desire for a royal olive branch. It isn't about healing wounds or Archie knowing his cousins. It's about the fact that the Sussexes are reportedly completely broke. The massive commercial deals that were supposed to fund their royal-adjacent lifestyle in California have either evaporated or failed to deliver. Spotify famously cut them loose, calling them grifters, and Netflix is likely not far behind. When you trade your family's secrets for a payday, you eventually run out of secrets. Now that the bank accounts are dwindling, Meghan has realized that sucking up to King Charles is the only way to keep the private jets in the air and the mansion's 16 bathrooms clean. It is a pivot born of pure, naked financial panic. The sheer audacity of this move is staggering. Meghan spent years portraying the royal family as a toxic, racist, and archaic firm that she had to escape for her mental health. She sat on Oprah's couch and fired shots at the very institution that gave her a global platform. But now that the American public is bored of her, and the Hollywood elite have stopped returning her calls, she wants back in. It is a psycho level of manipulation to think you can spend 4 years trying to dismantle a 1,000-year-old monarchy and then expect a taxpayer-funded security detail and a grace and favor cottage the moment your lifestyle brand fails. The grift has been exposed, and the world is finally watching the real-time collapse of a narcissist's plan, but there is a guardian standing at the gates, and his name.
But Meghan loves the UK and knows that the vast, vast majority of people are reasonable, rational, and good. So I want to respond directly to Meghan about this. You don't love the UK, woman. If you did love the UK, one of your last words on the way out to that little bastard Omid Scobie would not have been that you were never going to come back. So you don't love the UK. If things had been successful in California, you would never have.
Name is Prince William. While King Charles may still feel the pull of a father's grief, William is looking at the situation with the cold, clear eyes of a future king. He has watched his brother reveal private family conversations, attack his wife Catherine, and treat their shared history as content for a memoir. William's reported refusal to meet with them is the ultimate safeguard. He knows that these vile grifters don't want a family reunion, they want a photo op. They want a conversation they can leak to the press or sell to a documentary crew. William has drawn a line in the sand, and his stance is a reflection of a British public that is tired of being treated like an ATM for two people who clearly hate the country. The most disturbing part of this entire saga is the rumor that they are now planning to monetize their children's faces. For years, they were the world's loudest proponents of privacy. They sued anyone who dared to snap a photo of Archie or Lili. But now that the brand is toxic and the money is gone, the kids are reportedly being prepped for their public debut. If they are truly planning to use their children as human shields to soften the public's heart and force the king's hand, it marks a new low in their desperate bid for relevance. It proves that their children were never individuals to be protected. They were assets to be held in reserve until the market for Sussex drama crashed. The British public has absolutely no desire to see these two on British soil again. The sentiment across the UK is one of profound disgust. They remember the way the late Queen Elizabeth was treated in her final years, harassed by truth bombs while she was mourning her husband and facing her own end. Nobody wants these grifters back. They aren't seen as family members. They are seen as opportunists who tried to start a rival court and failed miserably. Parliament's decision to back the king is a direct reflection of this national mood. It is the state saying, "We will not be your fallback plan." You chose California, you chose the celebrity life. Now you can live with the consequences. Inside the palace, the chaos is the sound of an institution closing ranks. The Sussex problem has been a distraction for too long, and Charles is finally putting an end to it. By aligning with Parliament, he has made the decision permanent. This isn't just about Charles's reign, it's about William's future. The monarchy cannot survive if it allows people to profit from its destruction and then return to its protection. The psycho energy of the Sussex's PR machine is finally being met with a superior force, the combined will of the crown, the government, and the people. The door is not just closed, it is being welded shut. Meghan's desperation is visible in every parking lot, paparazzi, walk, and every failed brand launch. American Riviera Orchard was a joke, a lifestyle brand from someone whose lifestyle is built on borrowed titles and manufactured grievance. She thought she could out-glamour the House of Windsor, but she found out that without the weight of history behind her, she's just another influencer trying to sell overpriced jam. Her attempt to crawl back to Charles is a massive admission of failure. She has realized that she isn't the star of the show. She was the interloper who tried to rewrite the script and got fired by the audience. And then there is Harry, a man who was once a war hero and a beloved prince, now reduced to a whiny footnote in his own wife's ambitions. He has lost his military titles, his home, and the respect of the armed forces he once served. He has traded his birthright for a life of wellness, retreats, and grievance mongering. If he thinks a return to the UK will solve his problems, he is delusional. He would be returning to a family that doesn't trust him and a public that views him as a traitor. He is the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when you let ego and influence blind you to duty and loyalty. Parliament's involvement is the final, undeniable seal on the tomb of their royal status. It removes any hope of a half-in, half-out arrangement. It ensures that no taxpayer money will ever again be used to subsidize the lifestyle of two people who have spent their time attacking the United Kingdom. This is a moment of national self-respect. We are saying that our institutions are not for sale, and our family values are not for rent to the highest bidder. The grifters have been identified, and the psycho tactics have been mapped out and defeated. The King, the Prince of Wales, and the British Parliament are standing together in a way we haven't seen in generations. The King and Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales are showing what true service looks like, quiet, dignified, and consistent. This stands in stark contrast to the noisy, ego-driven world of the Sussexes. The chaos will pass, and what will be left is a stronger, more focused monarchy that has successfully shed its most toxic members. Harry and Meghan are no longer the story, they are a warning to future generations. The monetization of their children, the sucking up to a king they publicly shamed, and the desperate attempts to bypass the heir to the throne are all signs of a couple that has run out of road. The UK is closed. The family is closed. The grift is officially over. They wanted to find their voice in California, but all they've found is an echo chamber that is growing quieter by the day. By bringing Parliament into the fold, King Charles has taken a massive step. He has moved the decision beyond his own personal feelings as a father and into the realm of constitutional duty. The British government has effectively signalled that the Sussexes are a liability to the state. The door hasn't just been shut, the threshold has been dismantled. For Harry and Meghan, the realization that they are no longer wanted by the institution they tried to destroy must be the ultimate humiliation. Let's be honest about the motivation behind this reported pivot back toward the UK. It isn't about reconciliation or building bridges. It's about the fact that the Sussexes are reportedly completely broke. The massive commercial deals that were supposed to fund their royal-adjacent lifestyle in California have failed to deliver. The Spotify deal ended in public embarrassment, and Netflix is reportedly reassessing their value. When you sell out your family for profit, you eventually run out of secrets to sell. Now that the bank accounts are dwindling, Meghan has realized that sucking up to King Charles is her only remaining move. It is a desperate strategic play for a royal bailout. The sheer naked opportunism here is breathtaking. Meghan Markle spent years describing the royal family as a toxic, racist, and archaic firm that she had to flee for her own safety. She sat on Oprah's couch and accused her in-laws of the most heinous institutional biases. But now that the victim narrative isn't paying the bills anymore, she wants back in. It is a psycho level of manipulation to think you can spend years trying to dismantle a monarchy and then expect a taxpayer-funded security detail and a grace and favor home the moment your American business ventures fail. The grift has been exposed, and the world is finally witnessing the real-time collapse of a narcissist's plan. But there is a guardian standing at the gate, and his name is Prince William. While King Charles may still struggle with a father's natural instinct to forgive, William is looking at the situation with the cold, clear eyes of a future sovereign. He has watched his brother reveal private family moments, attack his wife, Catherine, and treat their shared history as content for a memoir. William's reported refusal to meet with them is the ultimate safeguard for the monarchy. He knows that these two vile grifters don't want a family reunion, they want a photo op. They want a conversation they can leak to the press or use as the basis for their next media project. William has drawn a line in the sand, and his stance is a direct reflection of a British public that is tired of being treated like a fallback plan. The most disturbing part of this entire saga is the rumor that they are now planning to monetize their children's faces. For years, they were the world's loudest proponents of privacy for Archie and Lili. They fought legal battles and lectured the press on the trauma of public exposure. But now that the Sussex brand is toxic and the money is gone, the kids are reportedly being prepared for their public debut in the UK. If they are truly planning to use their children as human shields to win back public sympathy and force the king's hand, it marks a new low. It proves that their children were never individuals to be protected. They were assets to be held in reserve until the market for Sussex drama crashed. The British public has absolutely no desire to see these two on British soil again. The sentiment across the UK is one of profound rejection. They remember the way the late Queen Elizabeth was treated in her final years, harassed by truth bombs while she was mourning her husband. Nobody wants these grifters back. They aren't seen as family members, they are seen as opportunists who tried to build a rival court and failed miserably. Parliament's decision to back the king is a reflection of this national mood. It is the state saying, "We will not be your safety net. You chose your path in California, you chose the life of a celebrity. Now you can live with the consequences of those choices." Inside the palace, the chaos is the sound of an institution closing ranks. The Sussex problem has been a distraction for too long, and Charles is finally putting an end to it. By aligning with Parliament, he has made the decision permanent and constitutional. This isn't just about Charles's reign, it's about the future of the monarchy itself. The institution cannot survive if it allows people to profit from its destruction and then return to its protection. The psycho energy of the Sussex's PR machine is finally being met with a superior force. The combined will of the crown, the government, and the people. The door is not just closed, it is being welded shut. Meghan's desperation is visible in every parking lot, paparazzi, walk, and every failed brand launch. Her attempt to re-establish a connection with Charles is a massive admission of failure. She thought she could be the next global icon, but she found out that without the weight of the British monarchy behind her, she's just another influencer trying to sell overpriced jam. She has realized that she isn't the star of the show. She was the guest who tried to rewrite the script and got fired by the audience. Now she's knocking on the stage door, but the locks have been changed. And then there is Harry. A man who was once a beloved prince and a war hero, now reduced to a whiny footnote in his own wife's ambitions. He has lost his military titles, his home, and the respect of his countrymen. He has traded his birthright for a life of wellness, retreats, and grievance mongering. If he thinks a return to the UK will solve his problems, he is delusional. He would be returning to a family that doesn't trust him and a public that views him as a traitor.
The big question, of course, is who's paying for this? Are we? Seriously, is my taxpayer money going to pay for this? Despite the objections of the future king, Prince William, and his wife, Catherine? If so, I want to know about it. And as Bronte Coy sums up, given Harry's previous hardline stance on their security, it therefore seems likely that either something has changed with his protection arrangement or that a royal...
It's the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when you let ego and influence blind you to duty and loyalty. Parliament's involvement is the final, undeniable seal on the tomb of their royal status. It removes any hope of a half-in, half-out arrangement. It ensures that no taxpayer money will ever again be used to subsidize the lifestyle of two people who have spent their time attacking the United Kingdom. This is a moment of national self-respect. We are saying that our institutions are not for sale, and our family values are not for rent. The grifters have been identified, and the psycho tactics have been defeated. The King, the Prince of Wales, and the British Parliament are standing together. The King and Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales are showing what true service looks like: quiet, dignified, and consistent. This stands in stark contrast to the noisy, ego-driven world of the Sussexes. The chaos will pass, and what will be left is a stronger, more focused monarchy that has successfully shed its most toxic members. Harry and Meghan are no longer the story. They are a warning to future generations. The family is closed. The grift is officially over. They wanted to find their voice in California, but all they've found is an echo chamber that is growing quieter by the day. Let them stay in their mansion and contemplate the cost of their freedom. It cost them everything that actually mattered. Let's be honest about the motivation behind this reported pivot back toward the UK. It isn't about reconciliation or healing. It's about the fact that the Sussexes are reportedly completely broke. Their massive commercial deals, the very foundation of their American lifestyle, are in tatters. Spotify famously ditched them, and the Netflix fountain is running dry. When you sell out your family for a payday, you eventually run out of secrets to sell, and the market for their whiny brand of victimhood has collapsed. If the reports are true and they are drowning in debt, then Meghan's sudden revelation that she needs to suck up to King Charles is her only remaining hope for survival. It is a desperate strategic play for a royal bailout. The sheer, naked opportunism here is breathtaking. Meghan Markle spent years describing the royal family as a toxic, racist, and archaic firm that she had to flee for her own safety. She sat on Oprah's couch and accused her in-laws of the most heinous institutional biases. But now that the victim narrative isn't paying the bills anymore, she wants back in. It is a psycho level of manipulation to think you can spend years trying to dismantle a monarchy and then expect a taxpayer-funded security detail and a grace and favor home the moment your American business ventures fail. The grift has been exposed, and the world is finally witnessing the real-time collapse of a narcissist's plan to have her cake and eat it too. But there is a guardian standing at the gate, and his name is Prince William. While King Charles may still struggle with a father's natural instinct to forgive, William is looking at the situation with the cold, clear eyes of a future sovereign. He has watched his brother reveal private family moments, attack his wife, Catherine, and treat their shared history as content for a memoir. William's reported refusal to meet with them is the ultimate safeguard for the monarchy. He knows that these two vile grifters don't want a family reunion, they want a photo op. They want a conversation they can leak to the press or use as the basis for their next media project. William has drawn a line in the sand, and his stance is a direct reflection of a British public that is tired of being treated like a fallback plan for two people who clearly despise the country. The most disturbing part of this entire saga is the rumor that they are now planning to monetize their children's faces. For years, they were the world's loudest proponents of privacy for Archie and Lili. They fought legal battles and lectured the press on the trauma of public exposure. But now that the Sussex brand is toxic and the money is gone, the kids are reportedly being prepared for their public debut in the UK. If they are truly planning to use their children as human shields to win back public sympathy and force the king's hand, it marks a new low. It proves that their children were never individuals to be protected. They were assets to be held in reserve until the market for Sussex drama crashed. Parading them through London now would be a cynical act of desperation. The British public has absolutely no desire to see these two on British soil again. The sentiment across the UK is one of profound rejection. They remember the way the late Queen Elizabeth was treated in her final years, harassed by truth bombs while she was mourning her husband. Nobody wants these grifters back. They aren't seen as family members. They are seen as opportunists who tried to build a rival court and failed miserably. Parliament's decision to back the king is a reflection of this national mood. It is the state saying, "We will not be your safety net." You chose your path in California, you chose the life of a celebrity. Now you can live with the consequences of those choices. The UK has moved on and it has no intention of looking back. Inside the palace, the chaos is the sound of an institution closing ranks. The Sussex problem has been a distraction for too long, and Charles is finally putting an end to it. By aligning with Parliament, he has made the decision permanent and constitutional. This isn't just about Charles's reign, it's about the future of the monarchy itself. The institution cannot survive if it allows people to profit from its destruction and then return to its protection. The psycho energy of the Sussex's PR machine is finally being met with a superior force, the combined will of the Crown, the government, and the people. The door is not just closed, it is being welded shut by the very people the Sussexes insulted. Meghan's desperation is visible in every parking lot, paparazzi, walk, and every failed brand launch. Her attempt to re-establish a connection with Charles is a massive admission of failure. She thought she could be the next global icon, but she found out that without the weight of the British monarchy behind her, she's just another influencer trying to sell overpriced jam. She has realized that she isn't the star of the show. She was the guest who tried to rewrite the script and got fired by the audience. Now she's knocking on the stage door, but the locks have been changed and the theatre is empty. Her Hollywood dreams have turned to dust, and her royal dreams have been legally terminated. And then there is Harry, a man who was once a beloved prince and a war hero, now reduced to a whiny footnote in his own wife's ambitions. He has lost his military titles, his home, and the respect of his countrymen. He has traded his birthright for a life of wellness, retreats, and grievance-mongering. If he thinks a return to the UK will solve his problems, he is delusional. He would be returning to a family that doesn't trust him and a public that views him as a traitor. He is the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when you let ego and influence blind you to duty and loyalty. He has become the spare to a woman who is already looking for her next move. Parliament's involvement is the final, undeniable seal on the tomb of their royal status. It removes any hope of a half-in, half-out arrangement. It ensures that no taxpayer money will ever again be used to subsidize the lifestyle of two people who have spent their time attacking the United Kingdom. This is a moment of national self-respect. We are saying that our institutions are not for sale, and our family values are not for rent to the highest bidder. The grifters have been identified, and the psycho tactics have been defeated. The King, the Prince of Wales, and the British Parliament are standing together in a unified front that ensures the monarchy's dignity remains intact.